The sun rises over the Aegean Sea, but something feels different. Its light falls on a world of stone temples, narrow streets, and whispered secrets. A world where every choice, what you eat, how you work, even whom you worship can decide your fate. But that's not the strange part, not even close. Because today, you're not a visitor. You are waking up inside ancient Greece. Your feet touch cold marble floors. Your hands brush coarse linen. Your heart beats in a time when philosophers, warriors, and farmers shared the same crowded markets. And every dawn carries a new risk and a new opportunity. But here's the question no one ever asks. What was it actually like to live here? Not as a mythic hero or a legendary king, but as an ordinary person trying to survive. What did you hear when you stepped outside? What smells filled the morning air? What fears crept into your mind when night fell? Those answers are hidden in the quiet rhythms of daily life breakfast rituals, marketplace chaos, religious devotion, and shocking moments that shaped an entire civilization. Moments most textbooks never mention. Moments that might change everything you thought you knew. So stay close, because the deeper we go, the stranger it becomes, and by the time this journey ends, you may see ancient Greece in a way no one ever told you before. The sun rises slowly over the Aegean Sea, painting the sky with soft gold. But this calm morning hides a world of intense rivalry, ambition, and unspoken fear. Ancient Greece was not one unified land. It was a mosaic of fiercely independent city-states, each convinced it was destined for greatness. Across these rugged hills and broken coastlines, life pulsed with energy and risk. Athens buzzed with ideas, debate, and restless innovation. Sparta sharpened its spears in cold silence, preparing for threats no one else saw coming. And in tiny villages scattered between mountains, farmers bent their backs over hard soil, unaware that their daily struggles shaped the heart of Greek civilization. But that's not the whole story. Because ancient Greece wasn't just a place of warriors and philosophers. It was a land of contradictions. Brilliant minds lived beside harsh laws. Freedom flourished in one city while total discipline ruled in another. Every choice carried weight, and every citizen, rich or poor, played a part in the grand experiment we now call democracy. Walk through an Athenian marketplace and you'd hear the clash of bronze tools, the cries of merchants, and the excited chatter of citizens debating drama, taxes, or war. Turn a corner, and you might glimpse a teacher guiding students beneath a shaded portico. No one knew it yet, but these young minds would shape Western thought for centuries. Meanwhile, far from the busy streets, Spartan youths marched barefoot across rough ground. Their lives were carved by discipline and silence. Some feared them. Others envied their strength. But no one dared ignore them because a single Spartan warrior was worth many men on the battlefield. At least that's what people whispered. Yet beyond the cities, everyday life moved to older rhythms. Farmers rose before dawn, herding goats into stony pastures. Fishermen pushed their small boats into the waves, praying the sea would be kind. Women tended the household fires and prepared meals that connected generations. Their world might seem simple, but survival here was never guaranteed. And looming over everything were the gods, watchful, unpredictable, and deeply woven into daily life. Every Greek, from the poorest laborer to the richest statesman, believed the divine could shift their fate with a single gesture. A sudden storm, a failed harvest, a whisper from a priest. These signs shaped decisions, alliances, and sometimes entire wars. But beneath all this, the politics, the rituals, the struggle to survive, something was changing. A new kind of thinking was brewing in the minds of scholars and soldiers alike. A challenge to old traditions. A spark that could ignite conflict or usher in a golden age. And that shift is where our story truly begins. Because the daily life of ancient Greece wasn't peaceful or predictable. It was a world balanced on the edge of transformation. And soon, that fragile balance would be tested in ways no one expected. The sun rises over Athens with a soft, golden glow. But for the people living beneath its splendor, the day is already filled with pressure. Farmers hurry to their fields. Merchants race to open their stalls before rivals steal early customers. And in every corner of the city, someone feels the weight of a new challenge coming their way. Deep inside the agora, the heart of Athenian life pulses with tension. Buyers shout over vendors. Philosophers argue over ideas. And soldiers returning from border patrols carry whispers of trouble brewing across the Aegean. No one knows it yet, but these small murmurs will shape the fate of thousands. A simple potter feels the rising heat of competition. His hands work fast over wet clay, shaping vessels that must sell today or his family may not eat tomorrow. His kiln crackles behind him, and smoke rises like a warning. If he fails to keep up with demand, another craftsman will replace him without hesitation. Meanwhile, in a quiet home, a mother prepares her children for the day. She ties a small charm around her son's wrist for protection. She knows he will walk miles through crowded streets. But she also knows danger hides even in places that look peaceful. Across the city walls, farmers face their own fight. They listen for the faintest rumble of hooves. Border raids from rival city-states are rare but devastating. A single attack can destroy a season's harvest, leaving entire families hungry. And in the gymnasium, young men train with fierce determination. Their wooden spears crack against shields. Their instructors shout orders with thunder in their voices. They do not train for glory today, they train because war is always a breath away. Inside the Grand Assembly, the air thickens with debate. Politicians argue over alliances, taxes, and looming threats. Words become weapons. Voices rise like clashing swords. Every vote could shift the balance of power across Greece. But that's not the worst. Rumors swirl of Sparta tightening its grip on the Peloponnese. Their armies move like shadows, disciplined and unstoppable. Stories of their training strike fear in every Athenian heart. Even the bravest men whisper their name with caution. As tension grows, daily life becomes a tightrope. One wrong choice could lead to shame, poverty, or conflict. A missed harvest. A failed business. A political misstep. Everything carries consequences. Yet people keep moving. They keep working. They keep hoping the storm will pass without touching them, but storms rarely choose their victims. By midday, the heat becomes unbearable. Tempers flare. A merchant curses a thief who slips through the crowd. Two fishermen argue over access to the best harbor spots. Even the gods seem restless, watching from the distant peaks of Olympus. Nightfall brings little relief. Torches flicker in the streets. Shadows stretch across stone walls. People whisper prayers to Athena and Zeus, hoping tomorrow will be kinder. But as the city settles into uneasy sleep, one truth hangs in the air. Something is coming, something no one expects. And life in ancient Greece is about to change in ways they cannot yet imagine. Something strange begins to stir in the heart of Greece. A quiet tension settles over the land, like a storm forming beyond the horizon. No one sees it directly, but everyone feels it. And for ordinary Greeks, daily life is about to twist into something far more uncertain. Across the agora, rumors drift like smoke. A merchant whispers that Sparta is watching Athens too closely. A farmer claims the gods sent a warning in last night's sky. No one knows the truth, but fear grows in the spaces between these stories. Families gather around small oil lamps, their shadows trembling on clay walls. They speak in low voices about strange omens, unusual dreams, and odd behavior in the city. Some believe it's politics. Others think the gods are preparing a trial no mortal can avoid. But the mystery doesn't stop there. A sudden shift in the winds impacts the entire Aegean coast. Fishermen return with empty nets, confused and uneasy. Sailors report that trade ships vanish in calm waters, leaving no debris behind. Whispers rise again. Were these the actions of pirates? Or was it something darker, something the ancient Greeks feared more than death? Their world is filled with unseen forces, after all, and not all of them are kind. In Athens, odd events pull people away from their normal routines. A sacred statue is said to move on its own at night. A priest claims to hear voices echoing inside the temple, calling out warnings. And the citizens, already on edge, start believing that something invisible is tightening its grip over the city. But that's not the worst part. Just when things seem most uncertain, a sudden decree spreads through the streets. An emergency gathering is announced. Something monumental has happened, and the entire city must prepare for a decision that could reshape their future. As crowds rush to the next hill, hearts pound in anticipation. Every footstep feels heavier. Every breath feels sharper. And every Greek, from warriors to farmers, knows one truth. Life may never be the same after today. The air thickens with suspense as the assembly comes into view. The city's greatest orators stand ready, faces carved with worry. The world of daily routines, markets, workshops, and simple meals is replaced with the sense that they stand on the edge of something vast and unknown. A question hangs in the air, silent yet deafening. What is waiting for them on the other side of this decision? And will their ordinary lives survive it? The dust of ancient Greece settles slowly, like ash after a long-burned fire. But the real story begins here, in the quiet after the struggle. The lives we followed, farmers, mothers, poets, warriors, did not see themselves as part of a grand civilization. They simply lived, one sunrise at a time, unaware that the world would study their footsteps for thousands of years. Daily life in Greece was never simple. It was a constant balance between duty and desire, tradition and ambition. A farmer's pride clashed with the unpredictability of the land. A mother's love was tested by the relentless expectations of society. A young man stood between obedience to the city and the hunger for glory. But each of these tensions helped shape a civilization that still echoes today. What we now admire as Greek greatness was built on countless small decisions made in kitchens, workshops, and marketplaces. The polis wasn't just marble columns. It was people arguing over price, children chasing goats through dusty streets, and elders whispering warnings of storms. Their everyday struggles created the foundation for philosophy, democracy, and art. And no one suspected that the simple rhythm of their lives would influence the entire world. Yet there was a cost. Freedom in Athens came with responsibility. Strength in Sparta came with sacrifice. Knowledge in Ionia came with risk. These people lived under constant pressure wars, droughts, political unrest, but still pushed forward. That resilience, more than their victories, is what forged their legacy. And it raises an unsettling question. Would we have endured what they did? When we look at ancient Greece today, we tend to see perfection in stone temples, statues, myths. But behind every monument stood someone whose hands were dirty, whose heart was worried, whose future felt uncertain. Their lives were fragile and often unfair. And yet they dared to dream bigger than their circumstances. That courage shaped the world. So as we step back from their bustling agora and fading torches, one truth becomes clear. The story of ancient Greece wasn't just about heroes or battles. It was about ordinary people shaping history without knowing it. People who struggled, people who hoped, people who lived. And sometimes that's the greatest legacy of all. The sun falls low over the Aegean now, and the streets of ancient Greece fade into silence. The echoes of footsteps on marble, the chants in the agora, the clash of ideas in crowded symposiums, all drift away like sand carried by the wind. But the spirit of this world lingers, whispering one final question. What does it mean to live a life that echoes through time? We walked among farmers rising with the dawn, soldiers sharpening bronze blades, poets chasing the perfect line, and women tending households filled with quiet strength. Their days were simple, but never easy. Their choices were small, but never meaningless. And somehow, without realizing it, they shaped the foundations of the modern world. But here's the strangest part. None of them knew the future they were building. As we step back from their world, one truth stays with us. History is not made only by heroes carved in stone. It's made by ordinary people who live with purpose, duty, curiosity, and courage. People like the Greeks who questioned everything, even themselves, and maybe that's why their ideas still breathe today. So ask yourself, if someone looked back on your daily life centuries from now, what story would they tell? What values would they see written between your choices? And what legacy, small or great, might you leave behind? Thank you for journeying with us into the heart of ancient Greece. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to subscribe to History Hub for more cinematic stories.